Hey guys, welcome back to Master Gaming Studios. I'm Craig, and today we are going to go on 1,000 point lists for everybody, or I should say every detachment in the Tyranid Codex. A few weeks ago we did a 2,000 point list for every detachment. A lot of you recommended, can we do a 1,000 point, maybe a smaller scaled down version, something basic or designed for beginners more or less. And absolutely, we're going to do that today. So if that sounds good, do like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our Tyranid content and other stuff here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios, battle reports, and other things related to that. And I just want to thank all of our members. We've got a lot of you guys looking back at the list. So thank you to all of us who allow us to keep this doing, keep more great content coming. And now let's dive into today's video. All right, so when it comes to 1,000 point lists, I personally have a couple caveats with this. I don't look at 1,000 point lists as super competitive. Some people might be playing 1,000 point tournaments, but really I look at those more as get some games in. You are playing a smaller, newer army at 1,000 points. It's not going to be the most competitive thing in the world. You won't have every tool at your disposal at 1,000 points, and really just want to have a good time. So these are still going to be lists I think are going to do well in their detachments, but I don't look at them as, oh, I'm going to win a massive tournament because it's just 1,000 points. So it's a great starting point for a lot of you newer players. Pick a detachment you like, maybe look to see if the models you have fit any of those and modify as you need to. So with that being said, let's go into the first one. And again, this is my old favorite detachment. I think it's lacking in this detachment, but maybe at 1,000 points. Assimilation Swarm will do pretty well. Leading it off, characters, we're going to have a Neuro Tyrant with the Biophagic Flow. Two reasons on this one. One, Biophagic Flow is a great little enhancement for the points if you have them, which we did in this list. And you don't have really any Synapse in this list outside of the Neuro Tyrant. So not only will you have her giving out her Synapse bubble, but she can give Synapse to two other units that probably maybe going forward need the Synapse there. She's going to kind of be the linchpin of this army, so having her key. 10 gargoyles, I think they are a necessity in every list, so we will include 10 of them for deep striking, scoring shenanigans. A Biovore, 2 Harspexes are a lot to deal with in 1,000 points, so we're going to have 2 of those. I then put in 2 Neurolictors. Every list is going to need 2 of them, maybe not every 1,000 points, but Assimilation Swarm really hinders on controlling the objectives that you have. So I'm going to put 2 in here because they're going to help you with their battle shock shenanigans. Control objectives that much more, which allow your stratagems and your healing and everything to just kick off. So 2 of those. A single Ripper, it's all we had the points for, but that's okay. Secondaries. 1 unit of 3 Pyrovores is great at 1,000 points. It can take a lot of bulk, or take a lot of hit with their bulk. They can also deal out a good amount of damage. 2 individual Pyrovores, maybe you bring one on from reserve, or you just keep one on your home objective to help heal and guard the home objective. It's a nice little thing, only for 35 points, not bad. And finally, we have a Psychophage. Again, it's a lot of, high toughness, 3-up save stuff. Not the most impossible thing to kill, but the model that up, the durability adds up. Hopefully it gets you somewhere at 1,000 points. Pressure Stampede. This is one that can be pretty spicy at 1,000 points because not a lot of 1,000 point armies have the tools to deal with more than 1 or 2 monsters. So Pressure Stampede might be one that's pretty good going forward at 1,000 points. Hive Tyrant, again, so many good strats, battle tactic strats in Pressure Stampede, so Hive Tyrant will take advantage of all of those. Old One Eye, because he's so good for his point cost. It's hard not to include him. 10 Gargoyles, you know, if you want to leave them at home, that's fine, but I think 10 are pretty good for scoring purposes. Then we just have a smattering of some good of our cheaper but still effective monsters. An Exocrine, a Harspex, and a Screamer Killer. The Exocrine will stay back and do its good shooting. The Harspex will be good in melee, and the Screamer Killer will also be good in melee. Between the 2 of them, you've got everything covered in melee, and then the Hive Tyrant and Old One Eye can back it up. A Neurolictor for helping control a little bit of objectives, causing battle shock. Will pair well with the Screamer Killer as well. And then we have a Pyrovore and a Ripper Swarm for scoring points. If you wanted to make a modification and said, I want almost all monsters and drop the gargoyles and the pyrovore, that will give you 100, and let's see, you could drop the gargoyles, the Ripper Swarm, and the pyrovore, and that will give you 135 points, so you could slap in another Exocrine or Haruspex if you wanted to. Still, I think you need the Neurolictor, but other than that, Crusher Stampede, use your cheaper monster, it's going to be good. Vanguard Onslaught, I think, is another one that will excel at 1,000 points, just because the speed, the mobility, the board's smaller, and typically there's not as much heavy armor in 1,000 points, so Vanguard Onslaught could do pretty well. For the characters, we gotta have Death Leaper. He can be the Warlord, so why not use him? He's awesome. Our Broodlord as well. 2 groups of 10 Gargoyles. They are Vanguard Invaders, so they will benefit from this detachment, so you definitely bet we're bringing 2 groups of 10 of those. We got 1 block of 10 Gene Stealers to go with the Broodlord. We have another group of 5. They can be a little bit more cagey playing, maybe just hold an objective or save them for later in the game. 2 groups of Leapers. You could make them 1 big block of 6 if you really want. Up to you. I prefer the 2 groups of 3, but to each their own. 2 individual Neurolictors, 2 regular Lictors, and a Ripper Swarm. I think this one will be pretty good. It'll be quick, hit your opponent fast. Something that 1,000 points, the gameplay kind of skews a little bit with the smaller board and smaller armies. This type of speed and aggression can be good. Unending Swarm. Now this is one I don't know actually if it is all that good at 1,000 points. You could argue that your opponent does not have the firepower to deal with a lot of these bugs, but at the same time, smaller 1,000 point games often tailor to guns that are good at killing infantry. So we're going to try this one. I don't know if Unending Swarm is your best at 1,000 points. You might be better off taking an Invasion Fleet Swarm if you want to play that Swarm feeling. Characters, Neurotyrant and Turvagon, both of them very good there. Battle line, 1 group of 10 Gargoyles and 3 groups of 20 Termagants. Again, if you're being super competitive, all of these Termagants have got Spine Fists and 1 or 2 of the Flamers, the Strangle Webs in them. If you want to bring any Devourers, you can try to keep at least 1 Flamer in there, and if you really want to be sneaky, put 1 Spine Fist in there as well. That'll allow you to do all your actions while engagement range or advancing or anything like that. The battle line, Biovore for scoring, a Neurolictor, 2 individual Ripper Swarms, and a Venomthrope squad. Again, I don't know if Unending Swarm really is the best for 1,000 points. You might be better playing Invasion Fleet and doing the Swarm that way. There's more regen that can happen when you are playing Unending Swarm or Invasion Fleet. You've got the 1 CP strat to bring back 2 units of D3 plus 3 Gaunts, plus you have the Turvagon that can keep reviving ones. So maybe look at trying Invasion Fleet for the 1,000 point games, but all in all, it should be a good start, and all of these units you will probably use at your 2,000 point list. Next, we have Synaptic Nexus. This one also tends to favor a little bit more into the monsters. This one we're going for some big tanky bulk here. So first, Neurotyrant with Power of the Hive Mind. Very good at a smaller game. Power of the Hive Mind makes that Flamer pretty good compared to when it normally is. 10 Gargoyles because, you need the Gargoyles. And we got a Biovore for scoring, 2 Maleceptors. These things are pretty nasty at 2,000 point games, and at 1,000 point game, dealing with 2 of them is going to be tough for your opponent. So nice to see those in there. A Neurolictor and a Screamer Killer, great combo there. So they'll like to work together. A single Ripper Swarm for some secondary, and 2 groups of 3 Zoanthropes. If you want, you could take these 2 groups of Zoanthropes and put them into 1 big brick. But then you're really running around with 2 Maleceptors, a Zoanthrope block, and then your Screamer Killer. And that's pretty much it, which is okay. You'll get better efficiency out of your stratagems doing it that way. Maybe try it both ways, see how you like, but it's going to be everything's running off of a high save or high invuln save, which might make it difficult for your opponent at 1,000 points. And finally, last but definitely not least, the Invasion Fleet. This one has got Old One Eye and the Foot Tyrant in there. Great pair of units in Invasion Fleet. We got the Gargoyles. we've got barb guns. I think barb guns are probably best in invasion fleet. They allow you to get a ton of shots, and if you're playing either the sustained or the lethal route, a ton of shots that they can get with those buffs stacked on top of it is very good. A Haruspex and an Exocrine, cheaper but more effective monsters. Again, they have lots of shots or lots of melee hits who will benefit from invasion fleet. Got a Neurolictor, a single Ripper Swarm, and then a Carnifex I prefer with the Twin Death Spitters or Devourers. Both are fun. A lot of people do like having Crushing Claws and then a gun on top of that because the Crushing Claws are a great and one of our only quality anti-tank weapons in the game. One of the few things that hit at AP3, but at the same time, you might be able to rely on Old One Eye for that and just have the Carnifex flinging out the infantry while Old One Eye does the heavy hitting. Either way, it's nice to have two Carnifexes and Old One Eye. It's a little bit much at 1,000 points, but by all means do it. I think at least one is nice to pair with Old One Eye for this. So that's it. 1,000 point lists are a lot simpler. They're fun to play. We don't do too many of them here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios. We like to stick to the 2,000 points. Occasionally, we will break out a combat patrol. We did one of those recently with Space Marines, the classic Space Marines versus Tyranids for 10th edition. So we did do that matchup. We might do more in the future. Tyranids have got a new combat patrol list that they have recently dropped in a White Dwarf, so maybe we play with that one. Either way, hopefully, if you are a newer player, you get some good points out of this. And if you're someone who your community regularly plays 1,000 point games and you've got some, tips, tricks, whatever you want to say for the comments, put them down below. Again, I am primarily a 2,000 point player. It's 2,000 points or it's a narrative style something. And I don't really stray too much away from those. But this should give you a good starting point no matter where you are in 40k. So that's all I got. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.